Call the order to the BZA for January 25th, 2023. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Quick explanation of tonight's business. We will be hearing one case this evening, and the sequence will be followed. The appeals will be heard first, and then other business will follow after the appeal. You're welcome to stay for the entire meeting, but you're not required to do so. All that speak or testified before the board will be sworn in. This may be either done as a group or individually. Anyone addressing the board is requested to use a speaker stand. Each person then is asked to give their name and address for the record when testifying. Our meetings are recorded, and anyone speaking may be cross-examined by an attorney. All documents, photographs, or other evidence presented for each case may be accepted by the board. The chairman will rule whether the additional items being offered will be accepted or rejected. The person presenting each case may also withdraw a document. The zoning administrator or staff member will present a brief presentation for each appeal, and once the presentation is complete, the appellant will have the opportunity to speak on behalf of their case. Following the appellant's presentation, the chairman will ask if anyone is in favor or in opposition and ask them to speak. In some instances, time limit may be applied. I don't see that this evening. Next, the board will make a motion to close the public portion. Then the individual members will ask pertinent questions to anyone that may have spoken in the evening. Board members will ask you to return to the podium and speak in the podium. Following the board's question, the motion and second will be made to either approve or deny the appeal, and the decision of the board is effective 30 days from the vote. I see no one's going to give me any problems tonight, so we won't have any disruptive behaviors. We won't even go through that. Roll call vote, please.
Sure. Ms. Owens?
Present.
Mr. Bartle?
Here.
Mr. Shupp?
Here.
Mr. Saito?
Present.
Mr. Roberto?
Present. We got to swear in. I have been reappointed this year, so I know I have to be sworn in. And is there anyone else that need to be sworn in? Were you aware of that?
Tonight, Mr. Saito should be sworn in.
Okay.
Yep.
I think you and Mr. Saito.
Mr.
DeMoss, not Saito.
Okay,
Yes.
so
you
that'll
two would be sworn in.
that's this evening, or are we tabling that for next month? I know what's the bylaw say?
But we could prepare that and have that ready momentarily.
Okay.
If we get to that point a little later, if you wouldn't mind.
And that's fine. If you guys are fine with it, I'm fine with it. As long as I'm allowed to do what I'm doing. Then we will swear in that anyone that's going to be testifying tonight before the Board of Zoning Appeals, if you're going to speak, please stand and raise your right hand.
You
Scott.
swear to tell the truth, nothing but truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. So our first case tonight would be BZA 2022-18. The applicant who is representing the property is requesting a variance to section 15.9.1, subsection C and D. The location of the property is 9024 Colerain Avenue, parcel number 510-0104-011100. Applicant is Commercial Site Acquisitions Incorporated, and the property owner is McCluskey Chevrolet. Does the staff have a presentation?
Yes, sir, we do.
Thank you.
Bless you. As Chair stated, the applicant who's representing the property owner is requesting a variance to 15.9.1 C, D, and G. The location is 9024 Colerain Avenue. The applicant is Casto. The owner is McCluskey Chevrolet. The property, again, is located on that Colerain Avenue, closer to Cross County, located in the southeastern portion of Colerain. Here's an aerial with some road names to give an idea of where it's located. The property is Zone B2. Just want to make sure. It's surrounded by a variety of different zonings, such as PDB, R6, but directly adjacent to it is B2 and PDB. Here again is the aerial of the property in question. And then there you can see the zoning associated with the property. And here's our property map kind of showing the lot lines. Here's the topography of it. It's fairly flat. And then we have a street view kind of showing, kind of giving an understanding of where the property is. It's a bit down there. It's the white building all the way down there. And this angle is a bit better. There you can see the property in question coming from the south going north. So the applicable zoning for this case is in Article 15, our sign article, relating 15.9 off-premise signs. And then in the general standards, C, stating the sign shall not be located on a parcel that contains another principal structure or use. D, the sign shall be classified as a business and shall be subject to the lot area and setback requirements of the zoning district where it is located. And then G, off-premise signs shall be located a minimum of 300 feet from any recorded subdivision or any residential lots less than 1 acre in size. G is applicable because Target is actually a recorded subdivision, so it would need to be a minimum of 300 feet from there. And then in the definitions in Article 16, again, highlighting what off-premise signs are defined as well as on-premise. Off-premise signs shall mean any sign, including billboards, that advertises or otherwise directs attention to an activity not on the same lot where the sign is located. And here's screen grabs, just showing where it is in our zoning resolution where we're taking this information from. So the applicant, Casto, on behalf of the property owner McCluskey, proposed the included plans to request variances from 15.91, C, D, and G. They're proposing a freestanding sign that services both the old McCluskey dealership as well as Target, which is an adjacent property at 9040 Colerain Avenue. The sign fits within the general site standards for a B2 district. But again, since it's an off-premise sign, that is why we're before. The Target panel is an off-premise sign. That is why we're here before you today. And then here's, again, the site plan that they submitted to us. The pylon is located right there. Here's a concept of the plans that they submitted as to one tenant would be Target and the other would be Valvoline. And then submitted in your packets where this was the variance for review criteria. And then also we're adding Duncan factors. It's always been a part of how we review things, but making it more of a focal point as far as how we determine cases. Staff looks at cases kind of moving forward. We're making this more of a focal point. And so there are the 7 Duncan factors listed out. That should also be in your packets as well. So the staff findings, it is staff's opinion that the property in question will yield a reasonable return without the variance. It is staff's opinion that the request itself is substantial in nature. It is staff's opinion the essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered and that adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. It is staff's opinion that granting the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. It is staff's opinion that the property owner purchasing the property does have knowledge of the zoning restrictions. It is staff's opinion that the property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some other method other than a variance. And it is staff's opinion that the spirit intent behind the zoning requirement would not be observed and substantial justice not done by granting the variance. So we received the justification letter a little later than anticipated with discussions with the applicant. We were not able to prepare the packet, including the most recent justification letter with staff findings. It was received on Friday. And so in order to, we are ready to hear the case, but you all would not have received the information that we can discuss with you this evening. It would not be in your package. You would not have had adequate time to review it, which is why we recommend tabling. But it is up to you all if you would like to hear it or not.
Okay.
Jerry, would you like to add anything?
Well, I would say before anything happens, I think why don't we go ahead and administer the oath of office? If we can do both, the alternate members, if they could both come down, we'll do you at the same time. If that makes sense, you want to come down and and then we'll do Mr. Roberto as a primary member down.
Okay.
So if the alternate members want to come down?
One there and one, I think one back there behind you.
They're everywhere. You're completely surrounded.
Come on down. I state your name.
I, David Moss,
Solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution
solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America,
and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the laws and resolutions of Colerain Township,
the laws and resolutions of Colerain Township,
to the best of your ability,
to the best of my ability,
I will faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
of an alternate member
of an alternate member
on a board of zoning appeals
on the Board of Zoning Appeals
in Colerain Township,
in and for Colerain Township,
Hamilton County,
Hamilton County,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Sorry.
You're good.
We got you.
Most of the time we don't.
Either, so it's okay.
Make sure I watch that.
Yes. Oh, wash.
Don't let me walk off with
I
that.
thought he said wash. Doesn't wash the pen, man. That'd be my ears.
I don't want to cut corners and batteries here. Raise your right hand. I state your name. I, Ronald Roberto. Solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution. Uphold the Constitution. Laws of the United States of America.
And laws of the United States of America.
The Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio.
The Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio.
And the laws and resolutions of Colerain Township.
And laws and resolutions
Best of your ability.
to the best of my ability.
Will faithfully discharge the duties. Of a primary member on the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Member of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
And for Colerain Township.
And
Hamilton County.
Hamilton County.
State of Ohio. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you all for your service.
Careful. Good save. Good save.
Hope I didn't break that.
I'll just do. Yep, cool. You did.
And I gotta take this back to my notary stamps at the office.
That's fine. I figured.
Sorry, we had to take care of the business for you. So, staff has made their presentation. Now we would hear from the appellant. Do we have any questions for staff?
Okay.
Just one. I was just curious, in case this comes up in the future. For paragraph D, it says the sign shall be classified as a business.
Correct.
What does that mean exactly?
So my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it would be the only allowed use on that property. So you could not have an off-premise sign and a business. It could only be an off-premise sign on the parcel.
Oh,
So it would take the place of the business. It would be seen as more or less a business.
okay. All right, thanks.
Which is what the large billboards are.
Yeah, so typically that would be a large billboard that takes up the majority of a parcel.
Yeah.
But again, with the definitions, it's just saying any off-premise sign would do.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions for staff? See none? Applicant present? Want to come give your presentation? State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Dan Leathery. I'm a development manager at Casto. Our address is 250 South Civic Center Drive, Suite 500 in Columbus.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank the staff and the BZA for your time and willingness to hear our case. We'd greatly appreciate your support tonight. My colleagues Eric Leibowitz and Brent Myers had a conflict. They had a different meeting to attend, but I'm fully up to speed and I'm here to continue the discussion and ultimately to request a vote tonight on our application. We respect staff's analysis and recommendation to table the discussion, but for a variety of reasons, and given that we've previously been tabled once already on this variance application, we would like to request a vote on this matter tonight. I have with me a revised narrative for the justification of variance, which we understand is not in your packet. Due to some debate from staff over which section we needed to request a variance from, we weren't able to get that submitted in time, but we have rewritten the narrative in an attempt to request the same variances, but to simplify the narrative on what it is we're asking for. So if helpful, I'm happy to pass these out for your reference. If not, we can refer to the,
Do you have one for each of the members?
yes, I do.
And the record show that we're receiving a documentation from the applicant, and we'll review it here in momentarily to see if we could accept it. I'll see it first, thanks. Okay. I'll distribute them. Thank you. You have enough for everybody? Perfect. You want one for yourself?
Sir, is that the one that staff was provided with
We're gonna-
Monday?
What's that?
This is, yes.
Just if it's the same I have here. Okay. Okay, thanks, thank you.
Let the record show we've accepted the documentation presented by the applicant, and we will submit it into the record. You may proceed. Thank you.
Great. Well, I'm here tonight to request a variance from section 15.9.1 C and D, which would allow Target to have an off-premise panel on a freestanding sign that will be constructed for Valvoline's principal use on the subject parcel. For clarity's sake, the design and specifications of this sign are permitted under 15.8.3 for freestanding signs, except for the fact that the off-premise panel for Target requires the requested variances. Therefore, the sign that will be constructed will be the exact same sign, and if you're willing to approve our variance tonight, it will include an off-premise panel for Target. Otherwise, it will only have one larger panel for Valvoline. There's currently an open shared access point between the subject parcel and Target's parcel. This access is not documented or recorded today, but we're in the process of finalizing the easement to allow the access point to remain open. Valvoline and Target have agreed to share this sign, and it's important to both of them for increased visibility and to make customers aware of the shared access point. The access point where Target's existing monument sign sits today was previously modified and limited. As such, the additional sign is important to Target to improve the flow of traffic and provide clarity for the customer on a location of an additional access point to the center. The request for you today would allow Target to have an off-premise sign panel on Valvoline's parcel, which would increase exposure and access to the site, ultimately provide a benefit to improve the performance of a key retail anchor on Colerain Avenue. Furthermore, multi-tenant signs such as this are common along Colerain Avenue and in Colerain Township, such as Waffle House and others, and it's very common for cohesive shopping centers with shared access to have shared signage in this manner. We thank you again for your time and would appreciate your support this evening.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking in favor of the appeal? I see none. Anyone speaking in opposition? I see none. Can I have a motion to close the public portion, please?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion and second have been made. Discussion? I see none. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Owens?
Yes.
Mr. Bartle?
Yes.
Mr. Shutt?
Yes.
Mr. Saito? Mr. Roberto?
Yes. Okay. Well, we will start with Mr. Seidel with any questions you might have for the applicant.
The question is, how does this affect the Valvoline store that it's already on Colerain Avenue, just north of this particular location?
It's an additional unit, separate unit from that location.
Okay. All right,
Any other questions, sir?
no further questions.
Mr. Shep?
I have none.
Ms. Owens?
I have none.
Mr. Bartle?
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious. I always like to get the logic from the applicant. So when you say the existing monument sign was modified and limited, which one are you talking about?
Where the temporary plastic dividers have been put up to restrict the left turn
Oh, that
access
one?
in.
At the car wash?
Yep.
Okay. Well, it says it created a hardship. So if a new Target sign goes up 200 feet away, you still can't turn left into the new Valvoline, correct? I mean, there's no left turn if you're heading south on Colerain.
I believe the access into Valvoline is a right turn in, right turn out.
Northbound.
North.
If you're heading
Northbound, yeah, you
south,
can't.
You're correct, sir.
Yeah,
you're heading
head
south-
southbound
Divided south.
On Colerain Avenue.
this new
from
sign
Compton.
doesn't help the southbound traffic,
You have to go to the light, turn left, and then,
correct?
I could not see how it would.
Yeah, okay. So it doesn't help the hardship, that's my point. It just seems odd that Target would need 4 signs, because you have Pool Road, you've got the car wash, and then you've got Compton Road. And now this would be the 4th one. So I'd be curious to know if the sign is really necessary or not. Would Valvoline continue with the project regardless of our decision? I guess you don't know that, probably.
Right, our intent is to construct the sign as designed, whether there's 1 or 2 panels there, the same square footage, whether they're sharing, whether there's 2 tenant logos or 1. And then as far as adding multiple signs to the property and to the center, it's just something we continually hear being important for retail tenants in today's world. Knowing that there's an access point where they can get directly to the Target from there is important to them, and any time they can improve upon that, it helps get more people into their store.
Yeah, if you're heading north, you're going to turn into the Pool Road access point probably first. And if you're not paying attention and you miss it, then you would go up to the one at the car wash. So by adding another one at the Valvoline, I don't understand how that helps them, but we'll see how things go. So I was just curious about that. And then for staff, I know you gave us recommendations with conditions that we are maybe going to use or not use at our discretion, correct?
If the board decides to hear the case, then
Yeah.
then that's exactly correct. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Can I have a question about one of them,
Absolutely.
one of the conditions? It's, I guess, number 3, A and B. If you could pull the site plan up and just explain what those would be.
Those might be better to discuss if the board decides to not table the hearing, because it's in conjunction with a multitude of other facets. But if you would like to have it explained anyway, then I will gladly do so.
There's a separate presentation if staff chooses to hear
Oh,
that.
I didn't realize we were just
Yeah,
going to
it's
vote
more
on
of a
tabling or
continuation.
not tabling.
So if you'd like to hear the case, then we
There'd
have
be
that.
a lot of information presented to the board for the first time tonight. So it would be, it's almost 20 years of history on the previous development, the PDB, which Target is located, and then a little bit longer than that, the current property.
let me get to me
Yes, sir.
asking questions, and then we'll
Okay,
go
well, that's
from
fine.
there.
Sorry, Mr. Bumble.
That's it for me.
So, everything you mentioned to me was a hardship for Target and not for the owner of this particular property, correct? I'm not hearing any hardships for Valvoline, how this is a hardship on them, but necessarily it's for Target. Did I mishear your I mean, that's what I heard, correct?
I can't speak on Target's behalf. I'm here representing.
Well, but everything you said was because Target needs visibility and because Target this and Target that. It was nothing about the actual owner that's going to be on that property benefiting them or being a hardship for them. So I'm trying to really get my head around the justification of why Target gets to encroach on your sign and why Valvoline would even be want to do that. Why would you want to lose your visibility of half your sign size to somebody that's sitting in your backyard?
They're sharing customers. They see it as a way to relieve traffic on other access points, improve traffic flow throughout the center, get more people onto the site. Valvoline wants Target shoppers coming through their site and vice versa.
Well, I've lived in Colerain Township now for longer than you've been alive. And, when there used to be an access road that went behind a McDonald's on Colerain Avenue that went into what now is Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was never advertised, but people knew it was there. And if your road is there, it doesn't need to be advertised because people are going to find it and they're going to get in there. It's whether or not you want them to go across your property to get into Target is really kind of the question you have, is because what kind of damage are they going to do as they access in and out? I honestly don't see a hardship for this applicant, Valvoline, whoever you're representing, because I don't see the benefit to Valvoline. I only see a benefit to Target, and they're not the applicant. And so I'm not really seeing a hardship, and maybe I'm not seeing anything else. Anybody see anything differently? And so it bars me. The question is, all right, are you being stronghold into this? I mean, is there what's the drive? Is there a monetary benefit for your client to give Target? That's what kind of runs through my mind. Is where's the benefit to your client? And I don't see a benefit to your client.
There is currently, that access point is not documented. We're in the process of documenting that.
Okay.
There's no monetary value. We're exchanging private property rights between two private property owners, which is a frequent occurrence in shopping center development.
Which, I mean, you're just providing an easement of an access, but it's really the property represents Valvoline and not Target. And that's really what kind of comes down to it. It now becomes confusing to the end user. Am I going into Valvoline or am I going into Target? And so there's where our perplexing is who's the sign really representing? And having that driveway there really is representing who's using that space and not Target. That's how I perceive it. I'm ready to hear a motion, and we'll go from there. Anybody else have any other you wanted to discuss or questions?
I addressed 2 points, sir, if there'd be an appropriate time to do so.
You need to speak up, or I didn't hear very well.
May I address 2 points,
Yes, you may,
if
please.
there'd be appropriate to do so?
Staff, do you have something you would like to say?
Well, just in what was referenced just in this immediate meeting.
Absolutely.
The precedent that's being stated by the applicant regarding Waffle House was actually a case where there was a pre-existing non-conforming use where it was over 4 signs, as you can see in this case. On this Waffle House application, if I zoom in here, you had 3 small on this side, and they took away the 3 small on the other to add the Waffle House. So it went from a case of a non-conforming to a lesser non-conforming. So it's not really setting a precedent for the case at hand tonight. And then additionally, for the McCluskey property, Valvoline potential future property, this is a driveway certificate that was issued on August 12, 2014. And it's an odd one that it's going to take a little bit different level of explanation to get to, but as you can see on the screen where I'm trying to circle with my mouse right there,
Right.
over here is Target's property. Over here is the McCluskey potential future Valvoline, is indicating here there's a driveway proposed here. Now it's odd because it's technically usually a driveway is from one public right of way to a private property. This is private property.
Right.
Nevertheless, it was approved in the same year that ironically, that the Waffle House sign was as well. But just to address that, it's sort of, if, as claimed in this letter and other letters, this is already, in the mind of the applicant, a single development, which it's not at all in the case of the township, there's at least zoning laws. What is the need for an easement anyway? And then additionally, there's not been a precedent set at all where we have allowed this to be an off-premise use. There's a pre-existing non-conforming going to a lesser non-conforming, so coming closer to conforming. Just to clarify those 2 points. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have a motion?
Well, but again, are we
You can
motioning
motion to table it.
to table or to actually not? I mean, is the motion to table or not table?
It's up to you.
Or deny. I mean,
Or accept, or
or
whatever.
accept. I mean, it's whatever the board wants to make a motion for. Then we can discuss it. You can either die on the table, die on the motion or not. Can I hear one? As a chair, I can't make a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the request from the applicant.
Okay, a motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second has been made. Discussion? See none? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Owens,
No.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Shupp,
Yes.
Mr. Saito,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. So the appeal has been denied. You have 30 days to do something with that decision, get with the staff, and they can direct you on how to do that. We will move on to the next business in hand. We have unfinished business. I see none. Approval of minutes for December the 21st, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Motion been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second's been made. Any discussion? None. Roll call vote?
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Shupp,
Yes.
Mr. Saito,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Next meeting is there an applicant present for the next one?
We have received no applications.
Okay, so the next meeting then would not be in February, be in March?
We don't, organizational.
We will be meeting
What
next
about
month.
the election?
Next
We have
month,
a organizational meeting.
Okay.
In order to amend, in order to have our organizational meetings in January, I believe we need to amend the bylaws to reflect that.
Propose if they want to.
Propose.
If they want to.
If you would like to.
So this would be an organizational meeting if we have one next month?
Yeah, so it'd be as usual.
Okay. So right now, we have no applicant, but we do have business to do, so
We will be meeting next month.
So our next meeting will be February the 22nd, 2023. Anybody have any problems with that?
Sir?
Perfect. Administrative matters, I see none. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, or discussion? Roll call vote?
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Shupp,
Yes.
Mr. Saito,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.